Welcome to the workshop. My name is Lisa Kroll, and I'm an English as an Additional Language Support Specialist for NSCC Libraries and Learning Commons. In this workshop, we will be talking about common grammar errors in English. Let's get started. Our objectives for today are to examine some common grammar errors and explore how to avoid making these errors. We will also review some helpful resources. First, let's talk about count or uncountable nouns. Count or countable nouns are simple to count. They may be singular or plural. For singular count nouns, use a, an, the, or one. For plural count nouns, use a number, the article the, or no article. You may also use quantity words, such as a lot, a few, some, and many. Never use a or an with a plural count noun. We can add plurals to some nouns, countable nouns, but not to other nouns, called non-count nouns. Non-count nouns are things that we generally do not count. For example, hair. She has beautiful hair. She has a lot of hair. We can't say she has beautiful hairs or she has a lot of hairs. Can you think of any other examples of non-count nouns? Certain categories of nouns are usually non-count. The categories include nouns for abstract ideas or feelings, school subjects, items made from tiny parts, collective nouns referring to things, many food items, minerals, liquids, and gases. Now let's talk about non-countable nouns. We can add plurals to some nouns, countable nouns, but not to other nouns, non-count nouns. For example, if we think about flour that we use for baking, we can't count it. We cannot say, I need one flour, or please pass me the flours. To count it, we have to put a quantifier in front of it. A quantifier tells us how much flour. 1 bag of flour, 1 kilogram of flour, or 1 cup of flour. We can't add numbers to a non-countable noun, but we can add quantifiers. Here are some more examples of non-count nouns and quantifiers. The quantifier is in yellow font and the non-count noun is bolded and underlined. Jewelry. She always wears lots of jewelry every day. Homework. Did you have a lot of homework last night? Love. He has plenty of love in his life. Fun. We had so much fun at the party. Money. I don't have much money until my next pay. Coffee. Can I have a cup of coffee, please? Let's try a practice activity. Choose the correct answer. Remember the rules for non-count nouns and quantifiers. 1. I'm trying to find a at the moment. Do you think A, job, or B, work? 2. She gave me some good A, advice, or B, advices? Are these sentences correct or incorrect? 3. Jin's favorite subject is biology. 4. I cooked some fish for dinner. 5. How many furniture are there in your apartment? Let's check the answers. 1. I'm trying to find a job at the moment. Because we have the article a, the word that comes after must be a singular count noun. 2. She gave me some good advice. Advice is what we call a non-count noun, so we can't add s. 3. Jin's favorite subject is biology is incorrect. Biology is a non-count noun because it's a school subject. So the correct sentence would be, Jin's favorite subject is biology, without the article a. 4. I cooked some fish for dinner. This is correct. We can't say fishes. Fish is a non-count noun, along with many other food items. 5. How many furniture are there in your apartment? That's incorrect because furniture is a non-count noun. We can't add s to. And so we need to ask how much instead of how many. How much furniture is there in your apartment is correct. Now let's look at using ing and ed endings for adjectives, which is another common grammar error. Often adjectives can have two forms. They can end with an ing or ed, depending on how you use them. These two endings must be used differently when they act as adjectives. Ing endings are used to describe things, and ed endings are used to describe feelings. Here are some examples. This movie is boring. I'm bored. This roller coaster is thrilling. I am thrilled. In the first example, the feeling is boredom. In the second example, the feeling is thrill or excitement. Here is another example of ing and ed adjectives. My neighbors can be very annoying. Last night I was very irritated because they were playing techno music so loudly that I couldn't hear the television. It was very irritating. I think the other neighbors were annoyed too, but no one said anything. Here, the forms of the verb to irritate and to annoy change to adjectives for things, like people, places, or items, or feelings. Making sure that you use ing and ed endings correctly is important for clarity and accuracy in English. Let's practice ing and ed adjectives. Complete the sentences for each situation. Use the word in brackets plus ing or ed. You can just think about the answer or write it down. 1. Marco teaches young children. It's a very hard job, but he enjoys it. A. He enjoys his job, but it's often. And so now you decide if you would say exhausting or exhausted. B. At the end of a day's work, he is often. And you choose exhausting or exhausted. The correct answers are A. He enjoys his job, but it's often exhausting. And B. At the end of a day's work, he is often exhausted. Remember that ed adjectives describe the feeling and ing adjectives describe things. Let's try number 2. Aisha is going to Mexico next month. She has never been there before. A. It will be an experience for her. B. Going to new places is always C. She is really about going to Mexico. Were you correct? A. It will be an exciting experience for her. B. Going to new places is always exciting. C. She is really excited about going to Mexico. It is really important to use all English tenses accurately. Many people make errors with the simple tenses, though, and they can cause a lot of confusion in writing and in speech. It is important to review, practice, and proofread for these tenses. If something happened in the past, you must use past tense verbs. If something is happening now, you must use present tense verbs. If something is going to happen in the future, you must use future tense verbs. Another tense people frequently use incorrectly is the present perfect tense. We use this tense when we want to communicate that something happened in the past, but is still important or happening now in the present. Look at the examples of these tenses on the screen. Remember to think about and proofread for errors in these tenses in assignments, emails, cover letters, and resumes. Common mistakes with verb tenses often include using the wrong tense for the intended time frame, mixing tenses inappropriately within a paragraph, and misusing irregular verb forms. For example, I seen instead of I saw. Keep the same tense if all events happened in the same time frame. Use past tense for events that happened in the past. Example: incorrect. On my 16th birthday, my parents had a big party for me. They invite all of my family and friends. The correct way to say this would be to use past tenses for both verbs. On my 16th birthday, my parents had a big party for me. They invited all of my family and friends. Most verbs have a past tense and past participle with ed, such as worked, played, and listened. But many verbs are irregular. For example, the verb be. In its base form, we use be, but past simple tense, we use was or were, depending on the subject. And the past participle is been. Another example is the verb do. The base form is do, past simple tense did, and past participle done. Some other examples are begin, began, begun, eat, ate, eaten, cut, cut, cut. These are just a few examples of irregular verbs. Here are some tips for how to avoid mistakes with tenses. Always consider the timeline. Proofread your writing to check for appropriate use of tense. Refer to lists of irregular verb forms to help you to use verb tenses correctly. Practice regularly and be aware of context to further reduce these errors. Let's practice using accurate tenses. What is the correct verb to complete these sentences? 1. Late last night I went to dance. Now I am tired. A, am, or B, was. 2. Every day Luis and Tina playing their instruments. A, practice, or B, practiced. 3. Tomorrow I all day. A, slept, or B, will sleep. 4. After we finished our homework, we on a walk. A, go, or B, went. Now let's check. Number 1, The correct answer is now I am tired. The word now is a clue to use a present tense. Number 2, the correct answer is every day Luis and Tina practice playing their instruments. The clue here is every day, so we should use the present tense for a habit or a routine. Number 3, tomorrow I will sleep all day. Because of the word tomorrow, we have to use a future tense. 4, after we finished our homework, we went on a walk. Because we did something in the past. To review, 3 common grammar errors to watch out for are non-count nouns and quantifiers, ing and ed adjectives, and using accurate verb tenses. If you have any questions, please email eal@nscc.ca. Thank you for listening to the workshop. If you need further clarification or to practice these skills, please book an appointment with an EAL support specialist or the Writing Center. Resources and references will now follow. There are many available resources for NSCC students. Please take some time to explore them. Visit the NSCC EAL supports page to view the schedules for upcoming EAL workshops, conversation circles, and to book an appointment with an EAL support specialist. Use the EAL guide for additional resources to help you with your language learning. Use NSCC's writing guide for tips, advice, and information for all your writing needs. You can find all these resources and more on the EAL Supports Connect page and link on the screen. Connect is NSCC's intranet and requires your NSCCW number and login.